May I have your attention, please? The Earth is a sphere. That is all. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Blue Marble Science. Nathan Oakley has decided to call me out on this topic of perspective. Now, one of two things. Either Nathan doesn't know very much about perspective, or the more likely case, Nathan knows about it and he's just lying to everyone. Boy, this is going to be fun. Warning, severe facial and monitor damage alert is in effect. To get out the oven mitts, push the monitors back out of punching range. And let's light this dumpster fire and have some fun.
Yeah, they've hijacked perspective, basically. They've taken the effects of things getting smaller and smaller into the distance, kept the values for those items the same at any distance, and called the effect Earth curve, using angles of geometry and drawing sagittars, not accounting for things getting smaller into the distance. People who come here and say that it does account for angular size are just liars.
So you're saying when I point out that there is no perspective effect in an orthographic side elevation like you see in this picture, but you contend that those blocks should be getting smaller from the left to the right because you've seen that perspective effect when you look at them from the end, that means I'm lying? No, Nathan. That means you're lying.
Blue Marble Science. In the orthographic view, the observer and the object are the same distance away. Therefore, no change in the parent size due to perspective. Quote me accurately, or I may do another video.
In orthographic view, they're not necessarily accounting for perspective at all. That's the first issue. That's the point of using it. You're normally drawing a single line between target and observer.
So you do understand it.
This is the line that Brenda took. Let's discuss your understanding and knowledge of orthographic representations, rather than addressing the point. The point being that, why is he now asking us about the angular representation in an orthographic view when his mathematics using orthographic view doesn't use angles? So, Blue Marble Science, you complete numpty. Why would you be asking us about the angular representations that aren't included in your orthographic math?
Uh-oh. Spoke too soon. Obviously, you don't understand it.
Is our acumen about random orthographic maths that do include angular sizes relevant when your maths doesn't?
Random orthographic maths? Damn, Nathan. Now you've even confused your straw man.
Now, given that you're asking us about how angular sizes are represented in orthographic view, I'd like you to show me those angular sizes in your mathematics.
No problem, Nathan. We can do that. Here's the Metabunk Earth Curve calculator. I've got a distance of 10 miles, a viewer height of 6 feet, and you see the results. The refracted hidden is 26.12 feet. The geometric hidden is 32.68 feet. But now if you look at the next line, you see pure angular size results. Angular size of the hidden amount is 0.03546 degrees. That is the angular size that would be obscured by the horizon. If we go down here, it's talking about the angular size of this red line. And while we're on this, this is just a cartoon. I've heard you complain about this. Apparently, you didn't read this sentence. It illustrates relationship between the various numbers, not the actual values. Now, let's go back up and notice something else. Pure angular size results. Explanation here. You want to see the maths? Here they are. There it all is. Go to that. It explains everything quite simply. This shouldn't be any problem for a guy like you, Nathan. There's everything you need. But wait, there's more. Let's go to Walter Bislin's calculator. Same observer height, 6 feet. Same target distance, 10 miles. Hidden, 32.68 feet, the same as Metabunk, unrefracted. Angular hidden, 0.03546 degrees, same as Metabunk. But Walter also gives us the visible portion. In this case, I said the target was 100 feet tall. So we get 67.3186 feet visible and an angular size of the visible portion of 0.0730 degrees. That's about 3 times greater than the Rayleigh criterion. So that object would be clearly visible with the naked eye. But that angular size, of course, is a function of how much magnification you have. So if you're looking at this through a telescope or some binoculars, or a P900, for instance, you would have a completely different angular size. You've got to take the magnification into account. Does that answer your question, Nathan?
Now, bearing in mind I've just made it quite clear that they're not there.
And I just made it quite clear that you're wrong.
I'll just win this out straight away and say, you complete loser. You, like Brenda, have missed the point and tried to highlight a straw man to burn in terms of our acumen and understanding about orthographic representations that do include angular sizes when yours don't include angular sizes, the point of our argument. So, we'll discuss the angular sizes and how they're represented in orthographic view as soon as you show them in the maths for an earth curve that hijacks perspective and doesn't account for angular size change. So we'll discuss them when you show us them in your earth curve maths, blue marble retard. They're not there, moron. That's the point of our argument, not our acumen in terms of how well we understand orthographic views. Not necessarily applicable to your earth curve maths that doesn't have angular sizes in them, you complete dick.
Easy, Nathan, you're going to blow a gasket there, boy. I didn't ask you a question, and I didn't mention angular size. You know what that's called? It's one of those things over there. You know, at first it sounded like you might have some understanding or perspective, but by the end of that tantrum, it's clear you don't. So let's talk about it very quickly and see if we can help you understand. This is a perspective drawing, Nathan. It looks like a picture. It looks like a photograph. It's got a couple of vanishing points. And it's absolutely worthless to us in terms of being able to determine the size of any of those structures. We can't tell how tall that tree is, or how far away or how large that mountain is, or how far away or how large those mountains in the background are. It's just a picture. This, on the other hand, is a true orthographic projection. Now, in the box, you see a thing called an isometric drawing. To the untrained eye, like the two that you have, that might look like a perspective drawing, but it's not. All those lines are parallel. They don't go to a vanishing point. The more common views are the 3 views you see on the right. If you look at that part from that direction, you see that view. If you look at the part from that direction, you see that view. And if you look at it from the top, you see that view. These are just normal mechanical drawing techniques, Nathan. This is how it's done. Now let's head out in the shop and do a little demonstration real quick. Well, here we are with our old friends, the blocks again. Those blocks are all exactly the same height. I've got one positioned at about 24 inches and another one back here at the 0 point. As you can see, exactly the same size. But another thing about these blocks, they're cut to be exactly the same height as the center line of the camera lens. So there's the camera on the table, and you can see that the block lines up right with the center of the lens. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to position the camera at 24 inches away from that second block, which is already 24 inches away from the far block. In other words, the first one is half the distance to the second one. Now, there's the camera positioned at 48 inches. Clearly the top of those blocks line up. That's our sight line. But look at the bottom of the blocks. That's the effect of perspective, Nathan. Obviously that far block is about half the size, and you can see that in the still there on the right. If this were an orthographic projection, you wouldn't see any difference in the height of those blocks. They would both be exactly the same. That's not what we see in reality, but this is not the view we're interested in. We're interested in the side view. We're interested in seeing the position of the observer and the position of the object that we are observing. There is no change in angular size in that direction. Everything is in line. And to try to suggest that there should be a change is just simply wrong, Nathan. And I think you know that.
Hope that addresses your question. Quote me precisely, or I'll make a video about it. No, I don't give a shit. You're a moron.
I don't understand what he's trying. The observer and the object are the same distance away.
Yeah, I understand what he's doing. What he's doing, he's saying the man on the left and the boat aren't moving. They're the same distance. They're a fixed distance. So there will be no angular size change. Well, yeah, that's because this cartoon's not moving. The boat's not actually sailing away from him in the image. So no, this is never going to represent an angular size change. But it would and could, if I just simply draw a line that represents an angle to the top and bottom of it, represent an angular size. But his maths doesn't include angular sizes. So he's justifying it by saying, well, when we've got a fixed picture, there's no angular size change. So there's no delta of the thing we're asking to be included in the maths when the maths has hijacked the very effect of angular sizes. Oh no, let's detail angular sizes and how they change. And in this picture, they don't. So his point is, in this picture, there's no representation of an angular size change. Well, no, that's because there's not a second boat in the picture and two lots of angles being drawn to it. So no, based on your language, no, you don't need to argue very much about an angular size change in this picture with a static boat. However, your mathematics for a globe doesn't include angular sizes. That would be the point we're making. Maybe make a video about how your maths doesn't include angular sizes and the boat's always going to be 30 foot. Even if I draw 1,000,000 miles on this line, our point being, this boat will always be 30 foot in your maths. It'll never change in size, even though it's getting so small at 1,000,000 miles, there's no sodding way you'll see it. But your maths will still see it. You just draw it halfway around an Earth curve. I don't know, 3,000 miles away, but it's still 30 feet. Yeah, well, it hasn't reduced in size. Angular size, apparent size. For your apparent maths that you don't have. Fools! Blue Marble's completely retarded. He thinks his clever use of wording's going to catch us out.
No, Nathan, it's not my clever wording that's going to catch you out. It's your own stupidity that's going to catch you out, pal. Nathan, listen. You're intentionally confusing this. You just build straw men and toss out red herrings. Objects viewed in the side elevation are all in a line. They don't move. They don't change in angular size. Any high school kid that's taken geometry and algebra knows this. You did take geometry and algebra, didn't you, Nathan? Maybe that's the problem.
No, I don't think so, Blue Marble.
He's just conceding. He's just conceding our point essentially by saying that side-on views can't show perspective. That's our point, and he's conceding it. And the people that watch him are too stupid to realize that. So we have to educate them on it.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
That's exactly right, Babs. That's my point. The way he forms this question is exactly what Babs says. He's conceding that. Now, has he ever stood at a dock and waved goodbye to people leaving on the cruise ship? Does that cruise ship not get smaller as it gets away from you in distance? Is he going to say it's the same size as it was in front of him in the dock where he couldn't see anything because it was blocking things that were behind it? Is this guy insane?
Well, no, I'm not insane, but I'm pretty sure the cheese slid off your cracker there, buddy. This is a representation of that hypothetical case that I put in the curve calculator. I've got an observer down here on the left-hand end of this drawing with a height of 6 feet, and I've got an object, a target down here on the right-hand end that is 100 feet tall. Let's zoom in the center. It was 10 miles, 52,800 feet. That's 10 miles. This is the center point of the observation. That's the 5-mile point. When we get here, you see the geometric surface. That's the curved surface. Down here is the chord line. That's from the foot of the observer to the bottom of the target. Up here is the line of sight, that magenta line. And the yellow lines are coming from the center line of the observer's eye and going to the top and the bottom of the target. I'll show you what we're going to do with that in just a moment. Now, the line of sight intersects the geometric surface back here at 15,838 feet, just like the curve calculator said it would. Let's go back over here on this end. There's the observer, 6 feet, the center line of his eye, or the center line of the camera. Again, the white line is the chord line. The cyan line is the actual curved surface. If I zoom in, you can see it. There it is. And the magenta line is the line of sight. It's all buried up in here with these lines that go to the object. There's the line of sight right there. Let's run down to the other end now. And by the way, this is the reason you don't see these things drawn to scale in the curve calculator. Everything's too small to see. There's our 100-foot tall target. The red section down here is what is being blocked. There's the line of sight. Anything below that is obscured by the curvature of the earth. It cannot be seen. It is 32 feet 8 inches, exactly as the curve calculator said it would be. But more importantly, the curve calculator said that the angular size of the hidden portion of that target is 0.0355 degrees, exactly what we measure on this 2-scale drawing. The visible portion has an angular size of 0.0731 degrees. Now you guys need to stop saying that the curve calculator doesn't include angular size. It tells you what the angular size is. It's up to you to decide whether or not you can resolve this with your naked eye or you need some level of magnification. This assumes no magnification whatsoever. If you magnify it 10 times, you'll get 0.7 degrees. If you magnify it 100 times, you'll get 7 degrees. That's simple. So there is how perspective is taken into account. You have to make up your own mind whether you've got enough magnification with whatever you're using to observe this target to be able to resolve it.
Yeah, I mean, according to him, on a flat Earth, everything is the same size with distance. Nothing changes. You should be able to see Australia from New York.
I never said that, Babs, and it's just another failed attempt on your part to create a straw man. But you know, while we're on the topic, you guys still haven't answered my question. Why can't observers in Kansas City see the Rocky Mountains? It's 590 miles away. I agree with that. But the Rocky Mountains are huge. You should be able to go up in any tall building in Kansas City. There is absolutely nothing terrain-wise blocking your view of the Rocky Mountains. Show me a picture of that. What's stopping you guys? Well, other than the curvature of the earth.
Yeah, they're crazy. Him and Brenda both are crazy, man.
Yeah, they're so brainwashed by their own mathematics that excludes perspective that they expect us to see forever on a flat plane, because their maths implies that you can see forever if you straighten out the line that's obscuring it. Now, what that actually tells you is they've hijacked the effect of perspective and called it Earth curve. So if you straighten out the line, in their representation, this would be a quarter of a sphere, with the boat down here somewhere and the man up here somewhere and a sagittar and a tangent and all sorts of geometry and angles being drawn, but no angular sizes. The boat on the other side of the curved Earth would be 30 feet, and the man rising up and down and giving you an apparent horizon, geometric though it is in their model, would be 6 feet. And that's all the maths ever shows. So even though in their geometric maths on the Metabunk site, for instance, it's literally got a quarter of a sphere in the pictorial representation, that quarter of a sphere, what would that be representing? Several thousand miles. Well, you can't see a boat that's 30 feet at several thousand miles, but in their maths and their depictions, you can. So when you straighten out that curved line that's got several thousand miles represented, and you drawing a straight line between target and observer, and just saying that the reason you can't see it is because of a bloody Earth curve getting in the way, that's no longer geometric and capable of obstruction unless you suck all the atmosphere out. But that aside, when you straighten out the line, they think that you should still see the boat because there isn't an Earth curve in the way. It's like, well, no, the Earth curve was never in the way, but the boat was definitely too small to see halfway round or quarter of the way round your sphere.
You know, while we're doing this, we may as well show why things do not disappear from the bottom up simply due to perspective. I've got a little cartoon I've drawn here. You can look down on this end. There's the position of an observer a bit below the center line of this wall back here, made out of bricks. And to that observer, these bricks, no matter which brick you pick, has about the same angular size. In fact, because the observer is below the center line, the upper brick looks a little smaller than the lower brick does. But the entire wall has a large angular size, 3.25 degrees. The individual bricks are 0.0326 degrees, and that's still above the Rayleigh criterion. So an observer, in looking at this wall, would see this as a stack of individual bricks. What happens if he backs away? Same drawing, same height observer, same brick wall. Well, the angular size of the wall is still 1.63 degrees. It's still totally resolvable. Now we got a problem though. The individual bricks have dropped in angular size to 0.0163. At that size, the observer would not be able to resolve these individual bricks. This would just look like one 1.63 degree angular size wall. No matter how far away we move it, the bottom will never disappear due to angular size. Eventually, the entire wall will drop below the Rayleigh criterion, and you won't be able to resolve it from a point on the ground. You know, you guys really need to knock this off. You're just making yourselves look foolish.
If it was a sphere, you'd still have the effects of perspective, but they're completely ignored in your maths. In reality, hijacked by
Well, I think we're going to leave Nathan raving like the lunatic that he is. But I've got a final thought for him. Nathan, an open pipe is not a container for pressurized gas. And if you think it is,
you're an idiot!
Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons. A special thanks to my Patreons. I really appreciate the support you guys show. And if you'd like to contribute to the channel, I'll put a link in the description. So I guess we'll see you guys on the next one. Hey, Gladys. We're out of here.